Oh my, look at that. Greetings everyone! Welcome back to our playthrough of Civilization 6 and the Greek culture under Gorgo. This isn't Sparta, episode 2. Oh my goodness, well we beat off some barbarians last time, didn't we? Let's see where we can start to find things this time, shall we? So we have a warrior in the city, and I think we're going to... slinger... I think we're going to fortify him there. Or no, we'll send him out and send this... Yeah, we'll fortify this one. Send the other one as we have a monument we're building, and I think we're going to be getting a settler after that. And we'll send the slinger out to do a little exploration, perhaps. Actually, no, let's move this warrior out that way. We have a builder. And while he's there, we can get him to build our pasture. Yay, we now have additional knowledge of horseback riding. Wonderful. We'll get mysticism this turn, and mining coming up shortly after. The nice thing about mysticism is it's going to provide us with some great persons possibilities that we will be able to use because of our leader.
I'd like to say I practice militant mysticism. I'm absolutely sure of some things that I don't quite know.
And we can go change the policies.
We have an envoy at our disposal.
We now have an envoy, that's great. And we can get rid of the God King, which gives us faith and gold in the capital. In turn, we can either start working on great prophet points, right? Or we can start working on great scientist points. So I think we're going to dump this. And we're going to start working on great scientist. So we've got our policies are set. Our envoys can go here. And they want to trigger an inspiration for military tradition. We're going to confirm our placement. And we get to choose our new civic. We can either go to craftsmanship or early empire. Early empire allows open borders and gives a production towards settlers. But the turns in both of this stuff is going to be at large. Craftsmanship, we're going to get 3 tiles improved here shortly, so we're going to move on with that. And then we're going to have to work towards both state workforce and early empire. The problem is we have such quick culture gain because we get that from beating up on the enemy. And this is our scout, and we're going to fortify him till he's healed. Do the same there. No sense running around half chuckled off, right? And here's this, and that's our 3rd improvement. And as you can see, our craftsmanship just jumped in half, so awesome for us. One of the things we talked about last time was our leadership. We do a little history here with our gameplay of Gorgo of Sparta, and I mentioned how she was the daughter, I believe I mentioned, she was the daughter of one king of Sparta, wife of another, and mother of a third. And more importantly, we know about her because she was mentioned in the histories, which is something very, very few women were. In part, that was because most of the histories were written by the Athenians, and Athenians' view towards women tended to be they should be neither seen nor heard. And I mean that exactly as I said it. They should not be seen, not be heard, and basically not leave the sphere of the home. So you wouldn't see very many Greek women popping up in their histories, and they truly had to be exceptional, of which Gorgo most certainly was.
My liege, we are beginning to attract.
Of course,
The
there
more
we go.
specialized districts we construct, the more we will draw in specialized groups.
I really need to turn those off one of these days, and hopefully by next episode I will remember to do that. In any event, Gorgo was, I'm probably going to slaughter these names, so just get used to it. My Greek isn't what it ever was. Gorgo was the daughter of a king, Cleomenes. Cleomenes, yeah, that's how I believe it's pronounced. And for reasons that will go into the issue with this particular king and this king's father, led to an interesting situation. Her husband, King Leonidas, which anyone who's watched the 300 or read the graphic novel or studied any bit of history in the ancient Greeks and the ancient Persians and the wars that they fought, knows of the name Leonidas. He was the half-brother of King Cleomenes. So she technically married her half-uncle. I know, don't freak out on me yet. And we'll go into why all that happened in a future episode with any luck. But she was married to a man who was significantly older than she was. Okay, we've got we need to get a settler. We need to get a settler pushed out here so we can start getting some folks up in places where we can get some more resources. And yeah, we got quarries down here that need to be tended to, and some wonderful things that couldn't happen around this way. I think we're going to kind of look towards over here. In any event, yes, Cleomenes was her husband, and Cleomenes was her father, and Leonidas was her father. And after her father passed away, she became queen because he didn't have any sons. And this is how Leonidas becomes king. He really wasn't next in line in any stretch of the imagination. And should Cleomenes have died without issue, without children, he would not have become king. Now, the death of King Cleomenes was considered by some to be suicide by drinking. What a way to go, I guess. So we can build irrigation, plantations, and hanging gardens and wonderful things. Writing will give us a new bit here. I think bronze working is a good idea right now, just because we've got our barbarians killed. It's 10 turns, we can get our hoplites early in the game, and we'll move on from there. As you can see, I'm going to keep bouncing back and forth between history and gameplay. I hope you don't mind that. Oh my, look at that. Ah, the city-state of Toronto. Outstanding. Welcome. In any event, her son would later go on to, okay, city-state meaning bonus. I've earned one envoy there. At a new city-state. Train a hoplite. Well, we're working on that. The fact that Gorgo had become very influential in both the decisions of her father and her husband. And again, Athenians weren't too big on that. That's why you don't see many women in history recorded that way. This will give us a little more culture. And they drop dead. See? Well, I'll be darned. We've now worked towards political philosophy. Great. Outstanding. The thing of it is that when Leonidas I left for Thermopylae, where he would make his famous stand, he'd only been king for about 10 years. Of course, by that point, he already had a son. And the fact that she was listened to by so many of her peers, but we don't believe her son, which is kind of interesting that she disappears once her husband has passed away, meaning that in all likelihood she did not spend much time advising her son. Well, this is going to be... And with a husband considerably older than her, most people don't realize that when Leonidas left for Thermopylae, he was in his 60s, by best guess. So he was not a young guy. She had married obviously fairly early, but yet he was still time to leave, I think. Yeah, I think it's time for discretion to be the better part of honor and get the heck out of here while we start bringing this boy back. So, he had already fathered a son, obviously, and the 300 bodyguards were actually, unlike the movie and the graphic novel, sent by the council as an advance guard. There was quite a few other troops there, most people don't realize. The Spartans did not fight at Thermopylae alone by any stretch of the imagination. And all of the men that went were older warriors who had already sired children. They already had heirs. This was important because while the first duty of a Spartan warrior was to protect his homeland, the second duty was to produce more Spartan warriors. And the line and the lineage needed to be kept intact. So all the young men who hadn't taken wives, who hadn't borne sons, stayed home, and all the older men went with, one could argue, one of their better military commanders because of the experience he had obtained over these years. Went to battle, and Xerxes kind of ran into a buzzsaw there. Ironically, this was not the first time the Persians invaded, if you know the story there, and we'll get into some of that a little more. This was the second great Persian invasion.
Skill without imagination is
Greece.
Craftsmanship, and gives us many useful
But
objects,
we'll save that for
such as
another episode.
wickerwork picnic baskets.
Okay, so we've got craftsmanship. That means we have a switch in policies available. We can do production towards builders, faith and gold on the capital. We don't want naval units. Don't need extra. We don't change anything right now, I think. I think we're good this turn for the moment. But we do have to choose a new civic. I don't see us clearing a barbarian outpost anytime soon, unfortunately. And I think we're much more likely to build a district before we get 6 population. But if the enemy keeps attacking in wonderful ways for us, then who are we to say bad things about him, right? Oh, can't get any further there, I guess. I think we need to bring that slinger just a little bit closer to home. Somebody's built Stonehenge. What's our city-state status looking like here? So we've got 2 here, called 2 culture in the capital, 2 production in the capital and producing wonders, buildings, and districts. That's good. 2 faith in the capital with that envoy, so we're continuing to grow faith. That's a good thing as well. So we're gaining a little bit in all the areas per turn. That's a good thing. We're not expanding as rapidly as I'd hoped, but I think the early barbarian tribes that we ran into are probably as much to blame for that as me. And we've upgraded this guy to an archer. And what we need to do is fortify him till he's healed. Get him back in there and get him into archer status as well. And then we will have something we can actually start taking on barbarians really with. And we'll go to the next turn. Okay, here's our poor scout. Going to encounter those awful rivers. We've got our population increase. We have our settler. Yay. As much as we could build an oracle. Built on hills. This would really give us great... get another builder up, I guess. See, it seems to think this would be a great place for a city, and I utterly disagree. In part because now up here, yeah, I think that's got much more potential. So we're going to get him across the way. This horseman is going to pose a little problem, isn't he? Yes, yes he
We
is.
have recently gained advanced knowledge in city planning. Creating districts in...
I'm also interested in creating a lasting legacy, because bronze will last for thousands of years.
We're gonna link them together. And move up that way. Let's take a look at what we can get technologically. Irrigation would be nice, wheel would be nice. What I need is some horseback riding. That will start letting me build stable, get horsemen for light cavalry, which will really let me expand and work around and do some things. However, if we're looking to play a culture game, writing is probably the better option. Yeah, he's gonna ride right over them, isn't he? Well, that's not as much as you would have thought. Access to coffee and whatnot. Well, I could put this right here because I could turn around and build an aqueduct here or something to that effect in either of those two places, I think. Let me check because I don't remember. Adjacent river or lake, oasis, or mountain title that do not have existing fresh water receive up to 6 housing cities. So that is a +1. So I could build here realistically. Or even here in the jungle tiles, but who wants to do that? That provides a really nice place for a university once you get out here, but that's going to require a cartload of culture or a boatload of money, one or the other. Let's ranged attack over here, get rid of this awful horseman. Killed him before he could do any damage, most importantly. Picked up our culture bonus. And we're moving on. Next turn we go. Thinking we should probably turn south and see what's along this way here. Let's see what's up here as far as grasslands and whatnot are concerned, I guess. But I want to get at these horses relatively quickly, so I'm thinking maybe on those hills there. I see, there's a barbarian scout. Well, we can probably cause him no end of grief. Oh, look at all these hills. I was kind of hoping he'd be foolish enough to attack us. Minor victory, which is going to hurt me more than it hurts him. Or no. Not by much, I'll tell you. Okay, that's better, I think. Oh, barbarians at the gates. Choose production back in the city. We could build an encampment, which would be nice, and that requires only one of those items. I think we're going to get a trader so we can get trade established with the city, and in consequence build that road. Because that road is something we're going to need, I think. So we've gotten sailing as a eureka moment, and we can now build our production here. Must be built on the hills. Oracles are great if you really want to go the religious route. I don't particularly want to go the religious route, but I do want to start getting me some hoplites. So I'm thinking hoplites might be the way to go here. We want to get 2 for each city so that they give each other the bonus. And our warrior gets fortified for the moment. Whereas we're going to get our builder out there and get one of those horses wrapped up right now.
It was luxuries like air conditioning that brought down the Roman Empire. With air conditioning, their windows were shut. They couldn't hear the barbarians coming.
I think they were waxing a little bit metaphorically, but in a lot of ways very true. Okay, so we're still got urban planning. We'll need production of settlers, production of builders, gold from all trade routes. I think we're just going to leave it right where it is. Choose our new civic. And once we get our state workforce going, because we're going to want to start reducing our gold costs per turn. Now we have horses. Okay, everybody, I think with that, we're going to call this particular episode a wrap. thank you all for coming out. We will return next time with more This Isn't Sparta. Until then, please subscribe, like, comment, all the wonderful stuff down below. I will see you all next time. Have a wonderful day.